Do you ever catch yourself scrolling on your phone, see someone post about their weight loss, and suddenly feel like you've been sucker punched? That happened to me recently, or would have happened to me in the past. Thankfully, didn't happen at this recent time. And today, I want to talk to you about why I chose to unfollow, even though I still like the person behind the account. Welcome to Embodied Love, where we're rewriting the rules around food, body image, and self-acceptance. I'm Dr. Meredith McKenzie, therapist, coach, and your guide to a life free from diet culture and food guilt. If you ever felt stuck in the cycle of binging, restricting, or struggling to feel at home in your body, you're in the right place. Each week, we'll explore emotional eating, body image, and joyful movement through solo episodes, expert interviews, and real-life coaching sessions. Because your body is not the problem. This is your space to learn, heal, and finally break free, and to discover what it means to love the body you're in. So probably much like you, I follow a range of creators and businesses and all types of things on social media. Some of the creators are in the space of anti-diet creation, intuitive eating. They're dietitians, they're naturopathic doctors, they're other therapists, they're medical doctors. And these are the people that I, hope to, rub elbows with one day and to be amongst. Sometimes it is a creator that I'm trying to learn something from. And oftentimes it's other business accounts because I want to learn more about how to grow my own business. That's just a little bit of the behind the scenes of who I'm following on social media. So here's what happened. I came across a post from a business account, someone that I follow for reasons to want to, aspire more from the business side of things. And it read, "I've lost 35 pounds and I'm starting to feel like myself again." It was this totally celebratory post for that person, but my heart sank a little. And not because I don't want her to feel good about herself. I absolutely want anybody to celebrate themselves in the ways that makes them the most comfortable. If there is something that you're working on in your life, then go for it. But I unfollowed because I know how often this narrative can be so deeply activated for folks recovering from disordered eating, myself included. I know that even if I'm in a really great place, that I can still, have moments where I'm feeling uncertain about myself, having a bad body image day. And I know that being surrounded by these things are not going to be good for me. So I want to unpack why this bothered me and also share why I don't think she's wrong for posting it. But I also don't think I'm wrong for unfollowing. So here is the first truth, and this is something that I talk about in my practice with my clients all the time, the importance of setting a boundary on social media. It's not the same as making a moral judgment about a person. The boundaries that we create for ourselves are important for the goals that we have for ourselves, the things that we're trying to create for ourselves, the space, the environment we want to curate in our own worlds. And our phones, as we know, are an extension, if not a very large part of the life that we lead. We spend so much time on our phones scrolling through Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or different ads that pop up. We are exposed in such a way that it happens so quickly and we are influenced so easily that we aren't even aware of how many touch points we're receiving. This is something that I've actually learned in the marketing field of business, of how companies and even small businesses are working to demonstrate certain things to us so that we feel exposed and influenced to make choices and decisions about our lives that will benefit them from a business standpoint. So even creators in a business sense will be creating content that is personal. I post about dropping my kids off at daycare, or I'll post about what I'm eating today. And yes, there are some overlaps between the work that I do and the reasons that I'm posting some of these things, but it is also done with a somewhat of a strategy of I want my followers to feel connected to me. I want to create a relationship with them. And so we often get exposed to people's personal lives or things that they're working on in their personal lives that we wouldn't otherwise, and we don't necessarily see the full-blown effect of how it influences us until, cumulatively that ends up happening. And I want to clarify what boundary setting is, because I didn't unfollow this person because I hate her or I think that she's bad or a bad influence on anybody. Like, there was none of that judgment there. I simply unfollowed because I need to protect the environment that I spend my time in. It's a very personal and personalized decision. Boundary setting, and when we choose to set boundaries, whether it's overtly saying something to another person or doing something that is, very benign and small, like this person has no idea probably that I even followed them and then unfollowed. It is a decision that you are making for yourself, and it can be done out of care. It can be done out of care for the other person in a totally gentle, kind way, but it ultimately is about our own well-being. And if we are not taking care of ourselves and we are not creating environments for ourselves that are beneficial or healthy for us, then we are going to be vulnerable to being impacted in a negative way. So it's almost two steps of being able to be aware, self-aware of what it is that you're needing, and then being able to set that boundary. So just like I would never hang a motivational quote, and I do have a few in my office here, that makes us feel like garbage every time we see it. We don't want to keep content in our feed that makes us feel small, inadequate, or at war with ourselves and our bodies. For many people, social media is a highlight reel, and there is this newer sense of vulnerability that is coming out in, the way social media is trending, that people are sharing some of the things that they're struggling with. But for the most part, what someone chooses to put online is a curated version of the reality that they want you to see. So when somebody is celebrating their weight loss or feeling like themselves in their bodies, that is the version of them that they are wanting you to see. And they feel really good in that moment, most likely. However, they're not showing the struggle, the behind the scenes of what's happening for them. And it can feel really isolating when you are the person who, you're not sharing that same experience, but you are sharing the struggles that are going on for you. And it can make you feel not in the same place as that person. So let's be real. Even though we have had a surge on social media about body acceptance and body liberation and accepting bodies of all different sizes, particularly during this time, we are drenched in a weight loss culture already. Whether it is content from what I eat in a day and showing what a person is eating, maybe that's aspirational what they're eating, maybe it is, more genuine of what they're eating, but it is what they're choosing to show us. Or we're seeing advertisements and influencer material that is created about different vitamins or supplements or different things that they're selling, weight loss programs, fitness programs. So much of what we see online is focused on the female body or the male body, but this podcast is primarily for women, the female body and the ideal body that a lot of people are trying to achieve. Even if I curate my feed or you curate your feed, but I'll take myself as an example, even if I'm curating my feed with care and being really intentional about not including, specific weight loss accounts or certain influencers that I find really triggering, like over the top, the weight loss messaging will still find its way in. There will still be little comments about calorie counting or about, somebody losing weight or their efforts to lose weight. Even some of the people that I admire on, so many different levels who are incredibly vulnerable, sharing about their mental health struggles, sharing about how they're trying to grow in different areas. There is still, other people's struggles seeping in, and I observe it. So this might come in the form of like sponsored ads, right? I can be targeted, and I've mentioned this before. I'm in my 40s. I have 2 children. I'm female. I live in North America. I am like the ideal audience for so many of these sponsored ads directed at weight loss. And I have curated my feed so that those things I don't see them for the most part, but the ads still come in, or before and after photos of someone, or even wellness tips. And I'm using a hard air quotes there, where that person might not be fully aware of their diet culture and how diet culture is influencing their tips for wellness. So it still comes in, even if it's in disguise. A 2003 research study by Sanzari et al. Actually showed that the more time you're spending on image-based platforms, whether that's Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, it increases the body disturbance or the dissatisfaction that you have with your body. And it also exposes us to weight loss content that is associated with lower body appreciation, greater fear about negative appearance evaluation, that people are going to be judging us and making assumptions about us based on our weight, as well as more frequent binge eating. So it's really showing that how we are feeling about ourselves just by exposure to these apps, that we are feeling negatively, and then it's acting out in binge eating. Now, contrary to what they expected to find in this study, that it doesn't matter if we are exposed to body positivity or neutrality content, that these things don't have a protective effect. So even if I make sure that my feed is filled with all different kinds of body positivity creators, when I am exposed to anyone talking about their bodies in a negative way or really highlighting the importance of weight loss and the benefits of weight loss, I, as well as other people, are more likely to feel negatively about themselves. So if you are craving a little more peace online, it is okay to be ruthless with your unfollows. If you know that somebody may potentially be posting something that could expose you to diet culture and you feel uncomfortable with that, you're not being dramatic. You're actually just being very intentional, and you're using boundary setting in a very caring way. Now, as I said, it is incredibly normal and expected that business accounts are also going to be sharing personal information about themselves. It's part of getting to know the business owner and to feel closer to them. So I expect that, and I enjoy it. Like I share those things myself. But another reason that I hit unfollow is because when I do follow a business account, I'm there for their expertise, their creativity, and the message that they give. And yes, I love people showing their personality, but when the personal message starts to conflict with my values or mental health, I know I need to take a step back. Saying all of that might sound controversial, especially with so much of the political stuff going on in the world right now. And there are beliefs on both sides of the fence about what we should be doing in terms of how we're using our social media messaging and who we're following and not following. And this episode of the podcast is not intended to get into any of that deeper stuff. Really, I'm wanting you to think, or encouraging you to think about it from a very personal sense of, how do you feel when you engage with that content? Is that something that you want to be exposed to? Is that something that is making your day better, brighter, helping you feel more motivated and going into the world in a way that you're feeling encouraged? Or does it take a chip off of you? You can love someone's work and decide that their current messaging isn't a fit for you right now. And I'm saying this very much from a body image and weight loss standpoint, but it applies to all other areas as well. There are certain creators that I've stopped following for parenting messages that they've given or academic messages that they've given, as well as, all the other reasons. I do want to take a moment to highlight the message that this creator gave of feeling like yourself again, because I can totally relate to that and understand why somebody would want to share in a very positive way that they feel like themselves again. It is such a loaded phrase, especially when it's tied to weight loss. What does it really mean though? What was missing about your worth before? What was missing about who you were and how you felt like yourself when you weighed a greater weight? Was your personality 35 pounds away? Was that part of you just out of reach because you had extra weight on your body? That is the message that type of post sends to me. And I think the implicit message that a lot of people get when we say these types of things, I think it's also part of the hurt feelings that we feel when someone says, wow, you look great, you lost this weight. And people show happiness for us because we feel as though we've been considered less than when we weighed more. However, if someone were to say to me, I feel so much more energized, I'm able to wake up in the morning and I just feel clearer in my head, I feel more confident, I feel more present, amazing. I want to hear that. That is what I want to hear. I want to hear what your experience of living is like in your body. But we need to disentangle those feelings from the number on the scale. Because I truly believe, from a health at every size perspective, that my body can be any weight, but I can feel better in my body if I'm taking certain actions. And so I don't want to disregard that somebody might be, engaging with their body and their health with behaviors that are really supportive of their well-being, because I think that's awesome. And those are the things that I want to support. Even for myself personally, I have been going to the same yoga class every week for over a year now. And I have to say, my body has never felt more fantastic. I was pregnant when I started in January of 2024. Now it is July of 2025. And I don't have the same pain in my body. I'm able to get on the floor with my children more easily. I feel energized and, motivated, excited, maybe less of a barrier if I wanted to try something physical, because I just feel limber. And I have to be honest, first I was pregnant, obviously then postpartum, and my body has fluctuated and changed physically in its size and weight over that time. That does not determine how I'm feeling right now. And I think that that's where we need to disentangle those things, because bodies change. And if our sense of identity is dependent on looking a certain way, we're really setting ourselves up for shame every time life happens, every time our bodies shift and change in some way. Another thing that I have been incredibly intentional about is defining my personal sense of success and being really careful with that for myself, because I think it's so easy, and you probably relate to this as well, so easy to set high expectations for ourselves and to continue to push. It's like I'm searching for that opposite of hustle culture, that opposite of not listening to my body and disengaging and continue to push through for the sake of achievement. And what does that success look like? How do you define that? In my world, success doesn't look like shrinking or denying yourself. It looks like expanding. It looks like feeling more joy, nourishing yourself with food that you actually like, moving your body in ways that feel good, being present in your relationships, and reclaiming your voice. That is what I want to amplify. That's what I want for my clients, my community, and myself. And my experience, my personal experience, and I'm saying this very personally, I'm not saying this has to be anybody else's and you choose to follow who you want to follow. But my personal experience has been that when I have strived for weight loss, when I have felt like my worth was tied to that number on the scale, that I didn't feel like I had a voice. I felt like I had a very rigid plan external to my own wants and needs for where I should be going. I didn't feel present in my relationships. I felt like I was counting calories and being very careful. No, sorry, we can't go to that restaurant, or we'll go to that restaurant, but I will find a way to eat something else. I wasn't able to be present. I wasn't able to, dial back that anxiety that I had about eating. And when I moved my body, it didn't always feel good. It maybe felt powerful in a moment, but it was always about the calories that I was burning or how this was going to help me reduce my body size. Those are the things that I'm trying to stay away from. And so for me, success looks like expanding who I am. So if you've ever felt that pang of discomfort when someone posts about weight loss, this is your permission to unfollow, to set boundaries, to protect your peace. You're not alone in that feeling if you feel that way like myself. You're not wrong for wanting something different. In fact, curating your feed is something that I guide you through step by step in my mini course, Food Freedom in a Weekend. Because learning how to tune out diet culture and tune back into your body doesn't just happen in the kitchen. It happens on your phone too. If you're ready to start breaking free from binge eating, emotional eating, or just the mental noise that comes from food and body struggles, Food Freedom in a Weekend is a great place to begin. It's affordable, self-paced, and packed with tools that work in real life. I'll drop the link in the show notes if you want to check it out. And if this episode hit home, share it with someone you care about, or tag me on Instagram at dr.meredithmckenzie. I love hearing what resonates with you. And until next time, keep choosing compassion over control. You're allowed to feel like yourself at any size. That's it for today's episode of One Body to Love. I'm so grateful you chose to spend this time with me. These conversations around food and body image can be deeply personal, and the fact that you showed up today open and curious means more than I can say. If today's episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Come connect with me on Instagram at Dr. Meredith McKenzie. Send me a message, share what stood out, or just say hi. If you're ready to take the next step toward food freedom and finally feel at home in your body, head to meredithmckenzie.ca/OBTL to learn more about the One Body to Love program. You'll find everything you need to begin healing your relationship with food with support every step of the way. If you're enjoying the show, one of the best ways to show support is by leaving a quick rating and review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening. Your words help more women find this space and feel less alone. Until next time, be gentle with yourself. You deserve a life of peace with food and your body.